Good afternoon, and welcome to Pinhole Quilting. We are live from our Pinhole Quilting showroom near Pershore in Worcestershire, and I'm here with my husband, Pete, who's behind the camera, and myself, that's Liz. We're going to do some demonstrations, tips and techniques, talk a little bit about what we've been up to this week. We always say it's been a busy week at Pinhole Quilting, pretty much, and this week has been no exception. Yeah, in fact, it got to the point actually, Pete, where I couldn't remember where I've been this week. I have to ask Pete. But I know where he's been. So Pete has been up to Yorkshire, and we've been in Preston this week, or was that last week?
That was last week.
That was last week. Anyway, you have to look at the calendar to remember where you've been. It's been one of those weeks. Oh yeah, you were down in Berkshire? Berkshire.
Yes.
Yes, Berkshire doing some servicing as well. So hello to our new customers, particularly this week to Leslie, and there were some people last week as well who are, in fact, one of them is meeting up with an existing Handi Quilter owner. So I really love it when we get people who don't know each other connecting through Handi Quilter. An example of that this week was I was doing a service for a customer on Wednesday on a Sweet 16. This is a very long-standing friend of mine. Hi Roz, I hope you're either watching live or on catch-up. And she met up with another friend, Di, and I've known Roz and Di for about 24 years, which makes me feel, it made us probably both feel a little bit older than we really wished. But when we recounted where we'd met, which was at one of the quilting retreats with Christine Porter way back in the 90s, I realised it was that long ago. And what was lovely is they were here when we had a customer who's already got a long arm stand-up, was looking at the sit-downs, and they had a chance to chat with each other. And, you know, this is the nice thing about our Handi Quilter long arm customers, is that, you know, people can get on from all different parts of the country, and obviously we're joined in the common theme, and common thread, in fact, of long arm quilting. So that was really great. And whilst she was here, Cherry, who's the customer who came, who was looking at the sit-downs, it was really interesting to talk with her about what she's doing and be able to give her some names of other customers who are in a similar vein and doing some very creative free motion quilting and embroidery. So this is a lovely thing. We've got people using these machines in all different ways. And I think one of the things as well is that if you just want to do regular pantographs and get something quilted from edge to edge, you can do that with a quilting from the back kit. You can go computerized, or you can go free motion quilting from the front using full line stencils. No artistic skill required at all, right through to our most creative customers who use the machines in the most amazing ways that even I would not have thought of, and I'm just inspired by them when I meet them. Well, both of us are, aren't we, Pete? We love meeting those creative people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so hopefully everybody can hear us, because I've been yabbering on without checking.
Yes, I'd have told you if there was no response, but first person online today was Margaret from Greensboro in North Carolina.
Oh, yes. So I saw Margaret had posted on YouTube, but also when there was a post this week about Pete and my background, just a little sort of thing. It's off our website, actually, and some maybe not so recent photos, but we'll gloss over that, because you're both wearing sunglasses. You can't see the laughter lines that we both have as a result of living a life well lived, I would like to say.
My hair seems to be a different colour from in the photo, though.
Yeah. It's just coloration of the photograph. Oh, it's black and white. Never mind.
So apart from Margaret, we've got Chris Hillier.
Oh, Chris Hillier, yes. Chris, I think of you often because we've got your two beautiful dream bigs on the wall, which we really appreciate you loaning us, so we can talk about the free motion quilting, or computerized quilting rather, with those.
There's Joan in Stockport. Hello, Joan.
Oh yeah, hi Joan. Hope you're getting on well with your machine.
I still haven't posted that picture of you with your rabbits, Joan.
Have I seen that picture? Oh, yes, the tame rabbits, right?
The house rabbits,
oh,
yes.
House rabbits. I love house rabbits.
And Carol in County Durham.
Carol in County Durham. It's lovely to see you on here, Carol. And Carol's done some really great classes, both with us and online classes as well. And every time I see her work, I just realise, you know, there's another level. But Carol already started at a pretty high level, I've got to be honest. The first time I saw Carol's domestic quilting, I just thought, wow. So Carol helped us out at Festival of Quilts last year, and should be helping us out again this year. And it's really useful for our potential customers to meet someone who, like them, who is in exactly the same position at Festival of Quilts, and kind of considering what the pros and cons are of going long arm or different brands and things. If you can talk to somebody else who's been through a similar learning curve as you kind of look at your options, then it's really useful. And we find that that was a very valuable thing to have our customers on the stand. They don't get any commission, I should say. Sorry, guys. Yeah, no vested interest in making sales. We just want them to chat to customers. That is the only instruction, isn't it, Pete?
It is. Yes, just show them machines. Get them have a go. Get them to have a go.
Yeah,
nothing more.
Very simple.
Karen in Anglesey, sunny Anglesey, seems very sunny all over the country today.
Yeah, Karen's done some great work as well. So from a very early start, which is wonderful. Anglesey that's a lovely place to be.
And there's Pina in Derbyshire. Pina, we haven't heard from you very much since you had your machine. You need to post some pictures.
Yeah, I hope that you're getting on well with it now.
And Annette.
Annette, Brown Cow Road.
That's the one.
Oh, Annette, think of you often, the shimmy.
So
you had to be there to understand that.
Julia Crossthwaite in Reading.
Hello, Julia. And Julia asked a question, didn't she? Yes.
Did she?
About Pro Stitcher Lite. I think I answered it on email. So
okay.
Hopefully, if I didn't answer your question, or if you've got some further questions, I've got Pro Stitcher Lite on the Moxie here. I'm just going to do a few things on it in a moment after we said our hellos.
Final 3 hellos for the moment then. There's Christine in Cumbria.
Christine, oh yes, Christine.
And Joe in Wiltshire. Hi Joe, you've joined us a few times recently. Nell, a very long-standing customer.
Yes.
Alison Smith in
Hi,
Norfolk. Nell. And Julia confirms, yes, you did answer her question. Great.
Excellent. That's good to know. So what are we doing this week? Well, we've done quite a lot on Pro Stitcher, I know, but I also wanted to sort of talk in more general terms about preparation for quilting, or getting started with quilting. I'm quite aware that for me, having this number of long arms around, where I've got to get like 11 or 12 long arms ready in the day before a class starts, but obviously I'm fairly adept at it, I'd like to think. I'm going to prove you wrong now, because obviously it's live and you'll see if I can't do that. But the point is this, is that I think sometimes we procrastinate starting things. And we were very moved on Friday when we watched the funeral of a lovely customer of ours, Hannah, who sadly passed away. And one of her phrases was, just get it done. There we go, just get it done. And that is a phrase that's going round and round in my brain a lot at the moment, for various reasons. I've got lots of things I'd rather not do, mostly paperwork based, I've got to be honest. And you kind of put them off, don't you? You procrastinate. But this is something you should enjoy doing. So just get it done. Think about those quilts that you've maybe got that you could just put on your frame. More quilts, the more you do, the more you'll learn. Every single quilt, I guarantee you will learn something from that quilt that maybe has been sort of sitting, folded up, iron the top, get some backing, get some wadding, put it on your frame, and let's get it quilted. Just get it done. So that's going to be our new motto, is hashtag just get it done, in memory of the lovely Hannah, who did some fantastic quilting. And I've got to tell you, if you're ever thinking you don't really feel like quilting, like it's pretty hot here at the moment. Sadly, I mean, Hannah had a brain tumour, and she actually managed to quilt when she couldn't use her left arm. She had a computerized system. And I remember talking to her on WhatsApp, and I said, oh, can I come back to you shortly, because I was with a customer. And she said, well, I can only quilt for an hour a day, and my arm isn't working. So guess what? I talked to her straight away, and just get it done. That's the key. So that is on a positive note, because it's a positive endorsement of Hannah, and what she managed to achieve, quite frankly, was amazing, absolutely amazing. So we are going to just get it done today with talking about getting the quilt on the frame, choosing your fabric for the backing. You've already got your quilt top, right? You've got to think about your wadding, your top thread, and your bobbin thread colour. What size needle? All of these things, this is the kind of things that we cover in our foundation workshop, which our customers get there's very few customers who won't have had this as part of their purchase, and we tell you whether it's included or not. The foundation workshop is a day class, it's included. We have a lovely lunch catered for by Pershore Deli, and we spend a day looking at things that are going to give you a really good basis. Quite often we suggest that you come 2 or 3 months after you've got your long arm, and it helps kind of really consolidate the knowledge you might have got from either your installation or from the YouTube videos. But more important than anything, it's about sort of getting you started on your long arm journey. And by the time you come, if you've had it for a few months, you might have played with it and tried it out, maybe thrown a few quilts on it. But essentially, this is some of the techniques and tips for getting good stitching, how to adjust your tension. What about thread? Let's talk about thread, let's talk about needles, how you match those two things together to get good stitches. So that's the foundation workshop, and on the first page of the notes that you will get, and we are going to do a virtual one in November, and the November class, by the way, is up online. It's the 14th of November, be followed by a foundation workshop, which is not yet online, but will be very soon. And on the following day is a virtual workshop. So we'll be doing this content, but in a virtual capacity with Carolyn James from Suffolk. All of those days are with Carolyn. So let's just talk first of all about setting up the machine. What do we have to do? Decide on the threads we're going to use in the top and the bobbin. Particularly when you're new to the long arm quilting, we recommend that you match the colours. There's an obvious reason for that. If it's not absolutely spot on, and you will improve both the way that you use the machine, the way that you adjust the tension, it will improve with time. So if you get the same colour, consider using the same thread, like glide in the top, wind your bobbin with the same thread for the bobbin. And wind the bobbin at the correct tension. I went on the Handi Quilter blog today, Pete. Somebody mentioned that my video was on the Handi Quilter blog, my Bobbin Winder video. There's a very nice comment from Mary Beth. I'll slip you $10 soon, Mary Beth. And it says, it's like a nice link to my Bobbin Winder video, which tells people how to wind the bobbin correctly. And there's a few tips on there, if it's not winding correctly, as to how you can achieve that. We need to set the tension on the bobbin. So this is one of the things that's very useful. I know we're doing a virtual class, but it's actually very, very useful to be able to come along and get the feel for this yourselves. So this is a Magna bobbin, and it's got the magnetic in the inside. Now I like to use this because I find that it gives me very consistent tension. But we tend to use the deco bobs in our machines when we're doing demos and classes and things. So this is a filament. This is a 60 weight filament, I believe. Feels like it. I just picked it out of the bobbin box that I've got. Didn't put a sign on it. Should have put a sign on it, really. But I can tell it's 60 weight. And it feels like a filament. My bobbin case. So before I start my quilting, I'm just going to clean that out. There's a really good video by Pete on the backlash spring and your bobbin case and how to resolve issues with the backlash spring, which if you've had one fall out, jump out, throw itself under your quilting frame and get hoovered up by either you or your cleaner. Not referencing anybody in particular last week who found that, but Anne. But when we put our bobbin in the bobbin case, it's really important that backlash spring is in properly. Otherwise, it will jam the bobbin and it won't rotate freely. And you'll get very erratic tension. Now, one of the things we've gone through before is that if you put the bobbin in the bobbin case in the correct way around and then you pull on the thread, it will rotate in a clockwise direction.
Just trying to get it to focus. Oh, there's my broken finger. But nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see your broken finger, Pete. I can't believe what a mess you made of it.
So, I don't know if you can see that. It's
Pete.
Bobbin is rotating in a clockwise direction.
Yeah, good test. Always clean out your bobbin case area. You've got a brush. You've got a brush with your system. You need to use it to clean that fluff out. So we clean the, bit of fluff there. Bit of fluff. A bit of love. And with some of the machines, you can use canned air. Not the ones that aren't sealed. You don't want to use canned air on that. And every now and then, you can take the stitch plate off and clean underneath here. You see, it's quite. I can tell by this, it actually does need doing, because it gets all around this little lip, what's it called, lip. And we do that, and then we put a drop of oil, either using the one that you get with the machine, which is one like this, at the bottom of the hook assembly. On some machines, it's like a black metal inside and silver on the outside, and others, you can't really tell, it's silver and silver, but it's like a shelf at the bottom. There's a video that says maintenance of your Handi Quilter machine on our channel, which will show you exactly how to do that. So the drop test, right, so what we're looking for with the Magna bobbins is almost like a yo-yo, that it will come out of your hand, unlike the standard bobbin test, where it literally just drops as soon as you pick it up. With this, it's like a yo-yo, that it will fall, and I feel the smoothness of it, and if I'm happy with that, I don't need to adjust it, but if I'm not happy with that, I need to get my little screwdriver that I had here earlier, which, oh, it's on the floor. It's decided to go AWOL. If you need to adjust it, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and we're going to adjust the bigger of the two screws, the one that's in like a little circle thing. And one of the things on that maintenance video of the bobbin case that Pete looks at is cleaning underneath this outer spring for fluff.
Don't use the screwdriver.
No, I'm just tapping it, but you don't do that. You will probably scratch the bobbin case, and that will not be good. If you drop a bobbin case, you can distort it, even though you might not have used it for very long. It's very difficult to get it back in true. So if you're getting erratic stitches or stitch quality, you might need to look at getting a second bobbin case. And actually, we do recommend that you get a second bobbin case, because you know what? The problem you have will be when you've got it all set up, you're ready to go, like I am now, you drop it on the tile floor, it's a bank holiday weekend and it's Friday evening, and you've got the entire weekend ready to quilt, but you can't. So having a second bobbin case is a really good idea. The quilt that I've got on here is really got a very fluffy, pretty horrible wadding. Not one that I purchased, but it's a charity quilt, and it came with the wadding. So it's other things on this particular quilt are already posted on YouTube as post-it light quilting, custom quilting, and you'll see how I load it all. So I'm going to put the glide foot on, because the other week I was doing a quilt for myself and I got into real trouble. Oh, that one's no good. He's just going to get me a glide foot. That one, I've got a problem with that one. So we're going to put a glide foot on. Yeah, I got into real trouble with the third one over. Final one. Pete, over there. Yeah, just directly into where the feet are. The trouble I got into was I'd done all my edges, pretty confident with that, but I was using a pro stitcher, and I went off the quilt at the top. It didn't get caught underneath here. It got caught in the wadding. I was using wool. That's pretty bad. Okay, so let me just get this on. So you change the feet with the Allen key, same Allen key that we use for the needles. And I'm just going to put that up there, tighten that up. Hunky dory. So we've talked about thread in the bobbin, so I'm going to use white. I've used white on the rest of my quilt, but this is an important consideration. When you are considering what your backing fabric is, if you're going to use, say, a navy blue thread, for the top and the bobbin, is it going to look okay when you are stitching on, say, cream? Navy blue on cream doesn't always look good. It looks, Pete's shaking his head, it looks pretty ugly. It's the way our eyes adjust, I think, for dark against the light is it narrows it and the stitches don't look as full. Do some test stitching and just see if you're happy with the look. But essentially, on a white or cream backing, you have to be really careful as to what thread you use if the back's important to you. On this one, I'm pretty happy with how the white looks. I mean, white is a good go-to, particularly when you're starting out. But I know that we want to break free a little bit with the more experimental colours sometimes. But when you do so, just test, don't guess, is the key thing. So I'm going to pull through my thread. I was using this lovely lemon Lazy Sun. Beautiful colour.
That's one of the new Glide colours.
It is. I chose it because it was one of the new ones, and it was perfect for my sunflower quilt. Well, I'll show you in a second. I finished it, but I've got to do the binding yet. I was going to do the binding on the machine, but we've had that quilt on and off so many times. I was thinking of an analogy, but then I realised that this is a family show. Right, so I'm going to pull that through. And when it goes through the knot, through the tension discs, that's the knot, just lift apart the tension discs and pull through the rest of the way to put less strain on the knot. It also means that when I do so, I'm literally testing to make sure, testing to make sure that the tension is engaged. If you tension the tension disc too much, sometimes the thread won't even go inside. I have loaded up Glide 40, and I can refer to the thread chart to match it to my needles, which you get with the paperwork you get when you get the machine. So this is our tension needles shred, which is also on our website as one of the informatics, it's called, under info on our...
This is also a standard Handi Quilter document, which is on their website.
Yeah,
too.
Just pinched it. It's also on the Amara, it's on your info screen for the Amara, so you can actually find this information there. So I'm using a 40 weight. With 40 weight, you could use an 18 as well. So if you're tending to get shredding, one of the first things you could do is go up a needle size. So I'm going to put a 16 needle in. New needle, new project. So I'm going to find myself 16R, which is a sharps needle, and I'm going to change my needle. Because I don't know how long this needle has been on this machine. I'll put that into an Old Spice jar. That's not Old Spice jar, but an Old Spice jar. And
good afternoon, Jenny. Jenny Humphrey is in Santorini. I would have thought, Jenny, you'd have something more interesting to do on an afternoon in Santorini rather than...
Personally, Jenny, I'm delighted that you're watching this.
And
Santorini.
Jill Pennell says, hello.
Hello, Jill.
I love bone rather than white.
Yeah, bone is fantastic. Bone, this is a very white.
It is.
So I knew I couldn't use bone on this, but Jill's absolutely right. One time, the first time we had bone at Festival of Quilts, we had a massive array of our glide threads, which we will have this year again. And literally, this woman, from about 40 feet away, she just came in a beeline for the glide thread, 5,000 meters. And she went straight to bone and she said, that's exactly what I want to do. Thank you very much. That's quite funny. So what I've done is I've put a 16 needle in. You can check for straightness using a magnet. We sell the magnets. I keep putting my scissors down. Don't put your scissors down. Oh yeah, bone. Yeah.
You do a comparison against the white.
Oh yeah.
You can see the difference here. But it's a great neutral. It's very, very popular.
It is. What's lovely is it reflects the colours that are around it more than white does. So if you've got a pink or a pale yellow or a grey, it'll actually just reflect those colours. I love bone. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Jill, for that. I hope you're having a good time. And I saw the photos of Jill with her amazing truck as part of the festival. I think it was in Spalding. Jill collects vintage trucks. Right. Fantastic. And it has a rescued European owl. These random facts is what I know about our customers. Right. So we've done needle and thread, considered and tested for whether we like our thread combination, top and bottom. If you're not matching top and bottom, definitely do a check of your tension. To do a tension check, you can put some fabric down the side that is the same as what's been used in your quilt. Just tension this up a bit more. Right, so I've got a cruise setting of 11 with, I'm just going to change this actually. I'm going to make it slightly higher cruise setting, 150. There we go. 11 stitches per inch, 150 cruise. Circles, and then I can see, because I've done it at the edge of the quilt, how that looks. That looks pretty darn perfect. Nice. Nice. Okay. And that was just from guessing, because I did actually mess around with the tension. I sort of span it unintentionally. That's quite good. Now, what am I going to do? Oh, first of all, I want to talk about this. So this is a quilt that I was working on a previous Facebook Live. Let's give a loose thread there. I've got quite a lot of loose threads actually to get rid of on the back. And this one is now finished. I just need to bind it. Isn't that cute? I love that. Very appropriate for this time of year. And what I wanted to do was really show the quilting off. So I did the same colour thread in the bobbin against the black. Take time to smell the flowers, treasure nature's tiny miracles, etc. So it's free motion quilting, a small amount of ruler work. I used rulers across the bottom of the beehive, and then also a little bit of pro stitcher, showing that you can combine all these things. You know, you don't have to do all computer work. You don't have to do all free motion and ruler work. If you've got Pro Stitcher or Pro Stitcher Lite, you can do a bit of all of these different things. So I'm just going to trim a few of these threads while we're talking. There we go. So I'm looking forward to getting the binding on that. I didn't do it on the frame because, as I said, I needed to get it off so that I could get this one on. I need to finish this one off as well. So where are we in terms of this quilt? I've quilted, I've basically stabilised the whole thing. I show you how to do that on the YouTube channel. So I've got different blocks. I've got like a Lone Star small panel that was pre-printed. I've got applique hexagons, something for everybody on this quilt. There's another panel, and then there's, I forgot what it is, but anyway, there's something at the bottom. And what I wanted to do today was show you how to use the measure tool so that we can design a whole series of chevrons that goes down the quilt. Now, sometimes it's easier to do borders by flipping it round the other way. I don't think I can do it on this one. It won't be wide enough. I'll have to put it onto the other one. But actually, I'm probably going to do that. So I'm just going to focus, because I've stabilised the whole thing. I'm just going to focus on doing these middle sections. This is where we get very loud strimmer coming through. So I could do this afterwards, but I just wanted to get going and show you how to use measure and how I could design chevrons down, all the way down here. I might just stitch part of it. There. Yeah, okay, so that gives me 10.33. No, 10.33, but add these together. 10.33. and then I can actually, yeah, so I'm going to do measure from here. Get rid of that. And then move it forward, 10.33 plus 10.24 plus, that's right, reset it to 0. Plus, well, that's good, isn't it? Tighten that up. And 10.24, 10.33 plus 9.96. Final one. Tension. The frame, not me. Take off measure. Around a little bit, get rid of it. Measure. And then the final section I will do to there, which is 8.18. So you'd add all those together. Right, 38.41 approx. So what we can now do is we'll go back to the top. Oh, actually took a step. Go back to the top. And from here, I'm going to go area. I'm going to set up my area, 2 corner. And anywhere to the right to form a square, a rectangle. And I'm going to key in the height, which I think was 38.41, but don't hold me to it. Whatever it was, you put it in. And so now I've got my nice rectangle, which is my border. This to represent, to do this design down here. So I'm going to basically go into repeat and fill. Right, actually I want it just to have one across, and so I'll stretch it and I will play around with it until I've got the right sort of shape. Something like that. Something like that. That looks pretty good. Let's zoom in so you can actually see. So there's my continuous line. So it stitches, 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 and then does a little tie off and does the next one. Okay, but what you might have spotted is I actually want to go the opposite direction because my arrows are facing downwards. So I'm going to do modify, rotate, and then I'm going to do flip. So it's now in the right direction. Make sure that I'm doing it properly. And I'm just going to tension all my quilt up and reposition it to start exactly where I want it to start. But say you're not sure. We can untick stitch. So I want it to start there. Modify, reposition, and let's see, I need it to start at the bottom. It's going to be interesting. Stitch and start and end. So if I press auto, like that, I want it to go, I'm now going to quilt. I'm going to take off stitch and start end stitches, and I'm just going to run it and just see if it stitches where I want it to. So say you've got a really complex design, area, frame, space, 2 corner. So you've got a really complex design and you don't know whether it's actually going to do what you expect it to. Let me just see if that's going to do it. Yeah, that will do it well. What you can do is air stitch. Air stitch is your friend. Air stitch is definitely your friend. So you take off stitch and start end, and then press proceed. So now it's actually moving, but not stitching. So I can check if it's going to where I expect it to. But I haven't got to do a load of unpicking, which will segue me nicely onto the unpicking tool that I'm going to demonstrate in a moment.
So, question from Marion, and another of our new customers.
Hello, Marion.
Who I popped in to see yesterday. She's asking about what does the speed setting do? You said it was set at 150. That was on the cruise.
Yeah.
So maybe you'd just like to explain that, Liz.
I will. Right. On the Marion's got
a Simply
16, but the settings are very similar. So C is for cruise or continuous. So on the Simply 16, you've got a similar thing. You've got P or C. So on the Moxie, we go into the menu and select the cruise setting. This is a little different from yours, but effectively you can just do it from the touch screen. So precision, cruise or continuous, and manual. So when you're in cruise or continuous, a bit of free motion quilting.
You're going to talk about unpicking?
Oh yeah. See this bit? Say I wanted to do this section here. It happens, doesn't it? Sometimes we have to do a bit of reverse sewing. Very irritating when it happens. But actually I basted this to begin with, and now I want to take it apart because I want to just do a bit of free motion quilting in this section. So what I do is I basically cut every 4 or 5 threads, which are fairly long because I did it like at a manual speed, or I might have even done it as 1/4 of an inch. Looks longer than 1/4 of an inch. I think I probably did it manually. And I'm just going to get rid of these every 4 or 5 inches, like so. And then it's got this rubber tip and a rubber end, like that. And then you just do this. And it loosens all your thread. And then it's easy just to pull out. Look at that. It just sticks to it. It's brilliant. I love it. Look. How come does that? This one I needed to do one in between. Every 4 is kind of a good number. And you've got it on the back, so you can either wait until you turn it over, but actually before you stitch heavily, you really want to get rid of it. So I just reach underneath and just pull it through. So there we go. That's the Unpicker. We've got a really nice little offer on your reverse sewing Unpickers. Basically, if you spend, this week, if you spend over £35 on thread, we will give you a free seam fix, seam ripper. These are really good. These are £6 normally £6. Spend over £35 on any thread from pinupquilting.co.uk and we will send you one of these. We will automatically send it to you, okay? We couldn't find a way of actually doing it so that the basket automatically added it. So we'll put it as a little post at the top of the thing that says, up until this time or 3 o'clock next week, we will send you one of these if you order over £35 of thread.
Yes, so don't add it to your basket.
Don't add it to your
unless
basket.
you want another one and want to pay for it.
Yeah, if you want to, add it to your basket. If you order over, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
We will automatically include it. Right.
Use us if you do that.
Liz, there are a couple of requests to redo the explanation of the cruise setting because that's when we had no sound.
Fine, I will do that. Absolutely. Okay, look, that's all gone. All those little bits.
It's a good little tool.
I love it. It was, I think it was Nancy Christopherson who introduced that to her. She was a lovely, lovely lady, Handi Quilter educator, who now runs in Dallas-Fort Worth, Longarm Quilt Academy. If you're in Dallas-Fort Worth, go and say hi to Nancy. She's probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She does loads of classes, long-arm classes, and you can get there really easily from the airport. It's not very far. Big plug for Nancy. Big shout out for Nancy Christopherson. N-A-N-C, Nancy. Right, let's put this on. So let's just talk about the cruise setting. At the moment, it's 11 stitches per inch and 200 stitches per minute cruise. So what does that mean? It means it's going to do, when I move the normal speed, it's going to do 11 stitches per inch. Happy days. But say I want to do a star with nice pointy points on my star. I need to have a cruise setting so that it actually does that. So I'm going to increase this cruise setting to 250. And so it now says 11 stitches per inch, 250 stitches per minute when I pause. When I pause, it will keep sewing at the rate of 250 stitches per minute. So here we go. Pause, stitches, pause, stitches, pause, pause.
Just pause a bit longer.
Pause, 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 pause. Because the gears are engaged, it's a bit weird. There we go. And it will cut out on the Moxie and more recent versions of the Amaras when you just leave it for 5 or 6 stitches.
So cruise is one of the 2 types of stitch regulated setting. And it's useful in these situations, for example, when you want to get a sharp point, because when you pause, it'll put in some stitches.
So another point to note about doing it like that, you will get more stitches at these points, of course, because it's doing this extra and you're slowing down. But the benefit is it doesn't tend to pull the bobbin thread up as much. So if you do have a problem with tension at the points, one option is to go into cruise or continuous, increase the number of stitches per minute to about 200 to 250 and see if that resolves it without changing the rest of the tension setting on the top.
Just contrast that, Liz, with in precision mode,
yeah,
and do the same design,
yeah,
and you might be able to demonstrate that.
Okay, good thinking, Batman. Okay. Right, so let's see how far I can go down, because I don't know.
So this means that when Liz pauses at the point, it won't be doing any stitching. And the tendency is for it therefore to pull up the bobbin thread at the points.
So when you move it forward, always remember to take off your side tensioners, which is the one thing when I'm doing live demos I tend to forget. It's like I'm thinking of so many other things. Right, so here we go. Tension up your quilt, stick it in precision, and see what happens. So in precision, in 11 stitches per inch, just the same. So I'm just going to go and do a very similar thing. I'm just going this way. So it's pausing. It's not stitching. Okay. So you can see...
You struggle to see that, but I can see clearly here that one of those points on the left is not looking nice.
It's not so good there. Is that the one you were thinking about?
The one above that, I think,
the one above that as well, yeah.
Pulling the bobbin thread up.
It's pulling the bobbin thread up a bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's nice for that reason. It's
is.
also nice to show you when the machine is on.
And it feels more smooth. So when you're doing a lot of free motion stitching, it flows more. Precision, it feels much more stop-start. So play around with that setting, and this is one of the things that we also encourage people to do, is play with these settings on the foundation workshop. And, you know, there is sometimes people make an assumption, I'm not saying people, but sometimes people don't realise that these are the kind of things that make the difference between how you use a long arm machine and how you use a domestic machine. So these kind of settings are crucial, and understanding when and how to use them is important, hence the education. So we hope that you can make the education workshops. We're sold out in September, but in November we've got a full-on practical session. We've got the landscape class the day after, and we've got the remote foundation workshop. That's the 14th, 15th and 16th of November. here we've got some lovely samples that Carolyn's put together, and these will be on our website very soon. Love this one, Carolyn. I love the way she's done the trees.
So this is 15th of November, I think you said?
Yeah, the 15th of November.
A class on these type of landscape
Absolutely. So
projects.
Where's the other one? Oh, there's you can have the other one, please. Thank you.
There's only one I didn't bring.
No, there's two you didn't bring.
Oh,
it's the one that's trimmed. There we go. This looks nicer.
Look a bit. Right. I think that looks great.
Yep. So
lovely wall hanging.
Carolyn and I are going to do the class together. She's leading it, so I'll be able to talk about doing 2 threads through 1 needle, or even 3 threads through 1 needle, how you can do that. Even on the Moxie we can do 2. I'm not sure how we do 3. Maybe Carol Watson has some ideas. Carol's come up with some very innovative ways of being able to use the Moxie to do more than 1 thread through the needle. If you're doing really beautiful sort of thread work with your machine, 2 threads where they're blended can be fantastic. And for our landscape workshop, that's going to be one of the things. We'll be putting together a fabric pack for this. Carolyn and I have both got a certain amount of stuff that we've got available that will be part of your pack. And we'll be taking, I'll be putting it on as a tell me when it's available. So you can sign up on the email list, but we've also, you can email us and we'll add you to the email list as well. Okay, I think we're there. So, spend over £35 on thread up till this time, 3 o'clock next week, and you'll get a free seam ripper, the Seam Fix seam ripper, which I love. And we just want to wish you that had a wonderful, wonderful week. Enjoy the summer, get out in your garden, have a Pimm's or a gin and tonic or whatever you fancy. For me, it's just a tonic water. And enjoy. And if you do get tired of being outside and you want to do some quilting, get on that machine. Okay, that's it. I think we're there. Pete, is there anything else you'd like to... Just get it done. Hashtag just get it done. All right. Happy quilting.